Jai Mishtapad Paramahamsa Parivikachara Stotrashata Shri Shri Srimad Divine Grace Shri Vicharanaravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON Founder Acharya Bibli Acharya Srimad the whole well Jagat Guru Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Nithai Gaur Premanande Haripur Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chamanarottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudhirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatyuttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 8. Lord Krishna shows the universal form. Text number 18 and 19. Text 18 I will read myself. Ya etasmin mahabhaga pritim kurvanti manavaha narayobhi bhavantyetan vishnu pakshan ivasuraha. Translation by His Divine Grace, Srila Charanaravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Demons, asuras, cannot harm the demigods who always have Lord Vishnu on their side. Similarly, any person or group attached to Krishna is extremely fortunate. Because such persons are very much affectionate toward Krishna, they cannot be defeated by demons like the associates of Kamsa or by the internal enemies, the senses. Text 19. Tasmat Nanda Atmajaha Ayam Te Tasman Nandatmajoyam Te Narayana Samaha Gunaihi Narayana Samo Gunaihi Shriya Kirtya Anubhavena Shriya Kirtya Anubhavena Gopayasva Samahitaha Gopayasva Samahitaha Tasman Nandatmajoyam Te Narayana Samo Gunaihi Shriya Kirtyanubhavena Gopayasva Samahitaha Tasman Nandatmajoyam Te Narayana Samo Gunaihi Shriya Kirtyanubhavena Gopayasva Samahitaha. Tasmat, therefore. Nanda, O Nanda Maharaj, Atmajaha, your son. I am this. Te, of you. Narayana Samaha is as good as Narayana. Narayana himself showing transcendental qualities. Gunaihi by qualities. Shriya by opulence. Kirtya especially by his name and fame. Anubhavena and by his influence. Gopayasva, just raise this child. Samahitaha, with great attention and precaution. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Bhajarana Aravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. In conclusion, therefore, O Nanda Maharaj, this child of yours is as good as Narayana. In his transcendental qualities, opulence, name, fame and influence, he is exactly like Narayana. You should all raise this child very carefully and cautiously. Can you repeat the translation? In conclusion, therefore, O Nanda Maharaj, this child of yours is as good as Narayana. In his transcendental qualities, opulence, name, fame, and influence, he is exactly like Narayana. You should all raise this child very carefully and cautiously. Purport. In this verse, the word Narayana Samaha is significant. Narayana has no equal. He is Asamardhva. No one is equal to him and no one is greater than he is. As stated in Shastra, Yastu Narayanam Devam Brahma Rudradi Daivataha Samatvenaiva Viksheta Sapashandi Bhavet Dhruvam. One who equates Narayana even with great exalted demigods like Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma is a Pashandi, an agnostic. No one can equal Narayana. Nonetheless, Gargamuni used the word Sama, meaning equal, because he wanted to treat Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who had become Nanda Maharaj's son. Gargamuni wanted to impress upon the mind of Nanda Maharaj, your worshipable deity Narayana is so pleased with you that he has sent you a son almost equal to him in qualifications. Therefore, you may designate your son with a similar name, such as Mukunda or Madhusudana. But you must always remember that whenever you want to do something very good, there will be many hindrances. Therefore, you should raise and protect this child with great care. If you can protect this child very cautiously, as Narayana always protects you, the child will be as good as Narayana. Gargamuni also indicated that although the child was exaltedly qualified like Narayana, he would enjoy more than Narayana as Rasa Vihari, the central enjoyer of the Rasa dance. As stated in the Brahma Samhita, Lakshmi Sahasra Shata Sambrama Sevya Manam, he would be served by many gopis who would all be as good as the goddess of fortune. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport and translation to Canto 10, Chapter 8, texts 18 and 19 of Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Ajnanatimidandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshununmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधरा श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. So in the previous verse it was discussed how Krishna's son Nanda Maharaj, Nanda Maharaj's son Krishna, he appeared or appears whenever there are disturbances to the demigods. And the asuras are always envious of demigods and particularly Indra. Because Indra is the king of the demigods, king of the heavenly planets. So therefore these asuras, they are always enemies of Indra, wanting to dethrone him and capture the position of heaven for heavenly enjoyment and control over the living beings. So they are always in enmity with Indra, who the asuras. But the devotees are always dependent on the Lord. The difference between the devotees and demigods is that the devotees don't have any ulterior motive in serving Krishna, but the demigods have particular desires to be fulfilled, even though they are devoted to Vishnu or Krishna. So that's the difference between the devotees and devatas. Both are devotees, but Vaishnavas in particular, they don't have any material desires. But the devatas, they have a lot of material desires. But they are devoted to Vishnu. And they want to fulfill their desires by the blessings of Vishnu. But these asuras, the third category, they also have a lot of desires. But they are not devoted to Vishnu. They are against Vishnu and devotees of Vishnu. Therefore, the devatas, even the devotees, are always troubled by the non-devotees, who are termed as asuras, because they have no interest in Krishna consciousness or becoming devotee of Vishnu or developing devotional sentiments. They have no such interest or idea or goal. The fortune of the devotees is that even though they may be harassed and disturbed by the non-devotees, by the asuras, Krishna is always there to protect them. Krishna or Krishna's incarnations, many incarnations of Vishnu, they are always available to protect the devotees. This confidence the devotees have. So here, therefore, Garga Muni is saying, it is recorded in history. That means it's a well-known fact. It has happened innumerable times, not once or twice. Therefore, it is a fact. Something happens once, somebody may term it as chance. But something is repeatedly happening. What is that? That repeatedly Vishnu is coming and protecting the devotee. And in the vision of everybody's eyes. In this world. One may speak philosophy of Vaikuntha, but this is reality. In this material world it is happening. Lord Vishnu descends to this material world. To the vision of normal persons. And when the devotees are facing difficulties, the non-devotees can easily observe that they are protected by Vishnu. So therefore, Garga Muni is saying here, as recorded in history, when there was an irregular, incapable government, Indra had been dethroned. So it's one particular instance Garga Muni is referring to. But this kind of instance repeatedly happens in this world, because so long asuras are there, devotees will be disturbed. If the world is rid of asuras and non-devotees, then only devotees can be peaceful. But in this material world, always there will be two categories of people. That Krishna has described in the Bhagavad Gita. There are two categories of living beings in this world, always eternally. One is the Sura, the other is the Asura. One is divine by nature, one is demoniac by nature. So you cannot avoid the second category called the demoniac. But in the spiritual world called Vaikuntha Loka, there is only one category of you can say there are two categories of living beings, the Supreme Lord and the living beings, and both are divine by nature. These demonic natured people or living beings are not there in the spiritual world. Or in other words, they have no entry. They'll be pushed out, they'll be thrown out to the material world. Anyway, there is no possibility of demonic persons in the Vaikuntha Loka. So those with demonic mentality repeatedly will take birth here only. And those who develop divine nature, they will slowly progress from this material world to the spiritual world. So when Indra was dethroned and people in general were harassed and disturbed by the thieves, this child appeared in order to protect the people and enable them to flourish. And Krishna curbed the rogues and thieves. That was discussed last verse. In this verse, Garga Muni is assuring that asuras cannot harm the demigods, who always have Lord Vishnu on their side. So long Vishnu is on our side, there is no question of any danger for a devotee. So there was a famous saying, Jayastu Pandu Putranam Yesham Pakshe Janardana. It is in the Bhagavad Gita, first chapter it is described. The symptoms of victory of the Pandavas, even before the battle began, is described by Sanjaya to Dhritarashtra. Still Dhritarashtra didn't take that signal. They are dull-headed. Asura means supposedly, apparently he looks very intelligent, but actually is very dull-headed. Oh, they are very intelligent, they analyze very nicely. Mayaya apahrita jnana. Their real intelligence is stolen away by Maya. They are not sharp. Even though Sanjay is indicated to Dhritarashtra, this person doesn't catch. And Duryodhana also knows he doesn't catch. So, Jayastu Pandu Putranam Yesham Pakshe Janardana. This is a statement only Shastra. What is that? Victory is always to the Pandavas. Why? What is the prime reason? One single reason. Victory is always waiting for Pandavas. Actually, they are waiting at the doorstep of Pandavas. Why? Yesham Pakshe Janardana. Because Janardana, Krishna is on the side of Pandavas. Krishna sided Pandavas. So, here the same thing. Garga Muni is telling Nanda Maharaj, demons cannot harm the demigods who always have Lord Vishnu on their side. So there is no danger for the devotees whatsoever. It's a very important point to note. Then another point which we will discuss today is what is mentioned here. Similarly, the next point Garga Muni is telling Nanda Maharaj is, any person or group attached to Krishna is extremely fortunate. This is a very important point. Second important point which Gargamuni is mentioning. Anyone, whether an individual or a group, becomes attached to Krishna is considered to be extremely fortunate. And because of this fortune, the fortune of becoming affectionate toward Krishna, they cannot be defeated by demons like the associates of Kamsa. And Prabhupada adds on, or by one's internal enemies called the senses. 11 senses. The internal enemies. The external enemy is Kamsa. The internal enemy are the 11 senses. So we have two kinds of enemies. But if you become attached to Krishna, there is no danger from these enemies. It's a very interesting point. So coming to this point of any person or any group attached to Krishna is extremely fortunate. So this is the very purpose of our Krishna consciousness movement. How to develop this attachment to Krishna. So Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita that there are 4 kinds of devotees who approach him. Of course, all of them are neophytes, not advanced, because they have some purpose and intention in approaching the Lord. Artho, Jignasi, Artharthi, Jnani. 4 kinds of neophytes. One who is in need of wealth, one who is in distress, one who is inquisitive, and one who is in search of true knowledge. To know what is the ultimate truth. All these kinds of devotees, they approach Krishna or Vishnu in different circumstances. But Krishna says, among them, the Jnani is very dear to me. Because a man a wise man who becomes attached to Krishna does not want anything in return from the Lord. Whereas the other 3 category of devotees, they want something in exchange from the Lord. Either money or wealth, or some relief from poverty, or relief from distress and difficulties which they are going through. So like that, they're always in the mode of seeking something from the Lord. But the Jnani, he does not want anything from the Lord in return for his devotional service. So Prabhupada explains, this means that from the very beginning, his basic principle of attachment to Krishna is more or less love. Jnani. But Jnani, not a dry Jnani, a Jnani who is a devotee. A wise man who is a devotee. Not a dry mental speculator. He is also called Jnani. But here Jnani refers to devotees. Devotees who are Jnanis, who are wise. So from the very beginning, his basic principle of attachment to Krishna is more or less love. Furthermore, he is a neophyte, no doubt. So therefore Prabhupada explains, due to his wisdom and study of Shastras, he can understand also that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So he will actually develop true wisdom. Krishna will give him knowledge from within his heart. So this asakti, attachment to Krishna, is a great asset for the living entity. It is explained, asakti is the beginning of love of Godhead. These 12 kinds of relationship with the Supreme Lord are all actually different degrees of attachment of the living being towards Krishna. Just like we have 5 kinds of we can have 5 kinds of direct attachment to Krishna, asakti, and 7 kinds of indirect attachment to Krishna. So the 5 kinds of direct attachment is what we all know as Shanta, Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya and Madhurya. These are considered to be 5 kinds of direct attachment to Krishna. Because unless one is attached to Krishna, why will he want to serve Krishna in love? Serving Krishna in love, serving Krishna with attachment. So Shanta, Dasa, Sakya, Vatsalya, Madhurya. Then the 7 kinds of indirect attachment is Virya Rasa, Krodha Rasa. Like that, there are 7 types are there. Indirect attachment. So Prabhupada explains this attachment. Just like if you love somebody, you want to see him, be with him. Sometimes attachment is so strong, even if you're not in front of the person, your lover physically, still your mind is fully absorbed in that lover or beloved, and it becomes restless in the absence of the lover or the beloved. That means there is strong attachment. Strong attachment. It's like Prabhupada explained in one letter. He just to give an example, he said, there was one devotee in Hyderabad, 1960s and 70s. So that devotee wrote a letter to Prabhupada. He was transferred to, that time, Madras. Today it is Chennai. So that devotee was transferred for whatever the reason. He was transferred from Hyderabad to Chennai. So he wrote a letter to Prabhupada. Prabhupada, I am becoming very restless in this temple because I am missing my deities, darshan. In Hyderabad, Prabhupada installed Radha Madan Mohan. Madana, Mohana, he has kept this devotee under his Mohana. So this devotee became so attached that he became very disturbed. So Prabhupada says this is called attachment. This is called attachment. That without the beloved, he becomes restless, very disturbed. He cannot sleep. It's because of strong attachment. Even in our experience, we have that. If you are attached to something and if it is separated from you, you become very disturbed. You feel very sorry. You feel very pained. You cannot function normally because you have become attached to a particular object or a person. If that attachment can be transferred to Krishna, that is perfection of human life. So how do we do that? Therefore, devotional service has come to the rescue of the conditioned soul. Rupa Goswami explains, the nature of devotional service is such that even if you can develop small attachment, very little attachment to any one of the bona fide forms of devotional service, it can arouse devotional ecstasy even in a neophyte devotee, Kanishta Adhikari. Is what Rupa Goswami explains. Very important. So he says there are 5 kinds of devotional activities. And if one develops even little attachment, very little attachment to any one of them, it can arouse prema in that devotional ecstasy, even in a neophyte, Kanishtadikari. So what are those 5 potent forms of devotional service? That's why he calls them as 5 potent forms of devotional service. Rupa Goswami explains 64 forms of devotional activities which one can render to the Lord. Of that, he has shortlisted 5 potent forms of devotional activities. In that he says, residing in Mathura, Mathura Vasa. Then, worshipping the deity of the Lord, Sri Murtira Shraddhena Sevana. Then reciting Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavata Shravana. Then serving a devotee, Vaishnava Seva, and chanting Hare Krishna mantra. So, if one can develop even little attachment to any one of these forms of devotional service, it can arouse devotional ecstasy even in a neophyte devotee. Now, somebody may further ask, but how can one develop attachment to these forms of devotional service? See, one to the other, there is a link. How to develop attachment? One of the 5 forms of devotional service you should become attached to. But how to develop even attachment to these forms of devotional service? Even though by nature they are very, very potent. So there is another trick for that. That also Rupa Goswami explains. He says that when you hear about devotional service from a pure devotee of the Lord, then he can inject that spiritual interest in the conditioned soul. That is why if you approach devotional service as taught by a pure devotee, it can arouse devotional feelings immediately. One may perform devotional service as heard from a non-devotee or a professional reciter, but it may not arouse devotional feelings or attachment to Krishna. But if you can practice devotional service as guided by a pure devotee, as learnt from a pure devotee, as taught by a pure devotee, as learnt from a pure devotee and as taught by a pure devotee, that will ensure that you will eventually develop attachment to Krishna. So this is very important according to Rupa Goswami. That is why we say Prabhupada Ashtraya. Rupa Goswami first of all says one must take shelter of a pure devotee of Krishna. If at all one intends to develop attachment to Krishna and feelings for Krishna and love for Krishna, one must take shelter of a pure devotee. Otherwise, one cannot develop this attachment, feelings and love for Krishna. It will not develop, it will not arouse in the conditioned soul. He will remain materialistic or demoniac. He will not develop divine nature and forget developing attachment to Krishna and love for Krishna. That is not possible. And Bhagavatam explains, and even Rupa Goswami explains, that the potency of association with the pure devotee is so great that even in a neophyte devotee, they can infuse attachment to Krishna. Therefore, association of a pure devotee is of utmost importance, or rather of prime importance. So it is described in the Padma Purana about one instance that there was one neophyte devotee who, in order to raise herself to the ecstatic platform, she danced whole night to invoke Krishna's grace. Now see how this subject develops. There's one devotee who danced whole night to develop, to receive Krishna's grace upon her. But there is the other example that even without undergoing any much shrama in devotional service, one develops suddenly one develops devotion to Krishna. How is it possible? Here we see so much effort is being put by one devotee to develop the grace of Krishna. But sometimes we see on the other hand, without putting any much effort or struggling much, he develops great devotion to Krishna. How is it possible? There is a secret that is explained. This sudden development of devotional service in a person must be understood to be a special mercy of Krishna or his pure devotee. Only two possibilities. Either Krishna or his pure devotee shows special mercy, then one can develop such attachment, such devotion to Krishna, even without practicing devotional principles or rendering devotional service sufficiently. This apparently accidental development of ecstatic feelings through the causeless mercy of Krishna can be divided into three groups. So this kripa can be received in three ways. What are they? Simply by speaking, you can receive that special mercy from Krishna or Krishna's pure devotee. Or if they glance upon you, or if they even wish in their heart, you will develop that ecstatic feeling. So, example is given about speaking directly. We all know how Narad Muni became a great devotee. Krishna actually directly told Narada that there is a statement, Krishna to Narada, "O best of the Brahmanas, I wish that you may develop unalloyed devotional service to me, which is full of transcendental bliss and all auspiciousness." This also is recorded in Bhagavatam. When Narada appeared as the son of Brahma, Krishna gifted him a veena personally. So veena which Narada Muni is carrying is not manufactured veena in a shop. It is not a purchased veena or a made veena. Krishna directly gifted him this veena and told him that 24 hours now take this veena, keep playing and sing my glories of Radhika Ramana. That's why we have a beautiful song. You should learn this song. In the Songs of Vaishnava Acharya book it is there. Narada Muni Bhajaya Veena Radhika Ramana. Like that it goes. It's a very nice song it is. So Narada Muni is actually all the time singing of Radhika and Ramana. Radhika Raman. Radha Krishna. Because Krishna told him, I am giving this veena, so always you sing my glories and glories of Radha and Krishna. It's like that. So, because of that, he has received this special mercy from Krishna. So 24 hours he is attached to Krishna. Some kind of madness. Then the second category, simply by glancing also one can instantly develop devotion to Krishna, attachment to Krishna, spontaneous feelings, ecstatic feelings for Krishna. So in the Skanda Purana it is explained how the inhabitants of Jangala province, when they saw Krishna, they immediately developed ecstatic feelings for Krishna. So much so that they could not take away their sight from Krishna. The moment they saw Krishna, finished. Their ecstatic feelings aroused. And they are not able to take away their minds from Krishna. So this is called Kripa, receiving special mercy through glancing. Through glancing. This is seeing Krishna. That is why if you see Prabhupada elsewhere, if you remember, Prabhupada explained in one lecture, what is seeing Krishna? We all say, no, I have seen Krishna, I have seen Krishna. Really? You have seen Krishna? I don't think you have seen Krishna. No, Prabhu, I am seeing Krishna daily. I am coming to ISKCON temple daily. Every day Darshanarthi I come, Mangalarthi I come. Or at least I take darshan and go to my office. I have a picture of Krishna. No, you have not seen Krishna. Hey, Prabhu, no, Prabhu, I am seeing. No, you're not seeing Krishna. What is seeing Krishna? Prabhupada explains. Seeing Krishna means all material attraction finished. Zero. This is seeing Krishna. So are we seeing Krishna? We are not seeing Krishna. This is seeing Krishna. That is why one of the friends of the gopis, they warned one another gopi. Oh my dear gopi, where are you going? What for you? No, you please tell me. No, why do you want to know? No, you please tell me. And we asked, ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗ್ತಿದ್ಯಾ? ಯಾಕೆ ಪ್ರಭು? ಏನು ಕೇಳಬೇಕು? No, you please tell me. I have some reason. So this gopi also told, no, please tell Mataji, I'll tell you the reason. You first tell me. Then this gopi said, no, I am going to see. So then anyway, this gopi was not telling. Finally, the other gopi said, if you are planning to see this young boy, beautiful looking boy called Krishna, who is son of Nanda, famous as the son of Nanda and Yashoda, who is always found to be playing a flute. She is giving the identity properly. Because somebody else, it may be having, may apparently look beautiful or having the features. So not to confuse who is having a flute, who is playing his flute in the dead of night, below the Vamshivata tree, exquisitely beautiful, who is also bluish complexioned, that boy called Krishna. If you intend to see him, please don't go. Because, why? The other gopi might ask, why should I not go and see that boy? Anyway, I am seeing so many boys. Why I should not see this boy? What is the problem? No, there is a problem, is there? What is the problem? What will be the problem? The problem will be, if you go and see this boy, Krishna, playing the flute below the Vamshivata tree, finished. You lose all attraction to everything in your life. You will become so attracted to this boy, you will not have any interest in anything in your life, towards anything or anybody. Are you prepared for this? If you are prepared for this, then you go. Otherwise, better you stay back at house only, Mataji. Don't see this boy by mistake. You will be in trouble. Trouble means you will become attached to him. So this is seeing Krishna. So by the glance of Krishna, how one can become so stricken with feeling that they could not take away their eyes from Krishna. The second one. The third one, how simply by wishes one can arouse ecstatic feeling. Simply Lord should wish, or Lord's pure devotee must wish, okay, I wish that you become a devotee. Finished, guarantee, case closed. So, here is an example of Narada Muni's blessings of Shukadeva Goswami. People always ask, how is it, Prabhu? How is it, Prabhu, that he has become devotee even before birth? How is it? What is that secret? Because we all want to know secrets, right? Life is always interesting with secrets. No secrets, nothing interesting. No spies. So in Bhakti itself is full of secrets. Mystical. So, Narada Muni is telling Vyasadeva. Actually, by this telling, he is indicating his wishes for the son of Vyasa. That's why he has become pure devotee even before birth. Because of Narada Muni's good wishes. And Narada Muni is a pure devotee of Krishna. And if he wishes someone become devotee, 100%. 100%. 101%. 3 times bell rang, you see. Whenever we discuss, again you see bell ring. So like that. See what Narada Muni said. You have a son. Narada Muni kan hakpita we say, no? Sometimes we say Kannada, kan hakpitiya? Hoit. So there's a good version aspect, there's a bad aspect also. Ketta kannu ide, olle kannu ide. But Narada Muni kannalla olle kannu. Good eye. Good wishes. So Narada Muni is telling Vyasadeva. See, Narada side Vyasa's son only. He will not eye your son and my son. Huh? So Narada Muni is telling, you have a son. He has put an eye on him. You have a son who is the greatest devotee of the personality of Godhead. And I can observe that without any following of the regulative principles of devotional service, he is already enriched with many of the symptoms achieved by execution of devotional service after many, many births. Bahunam janmanam ante. Here not even prapadyate Vasudeva. He has developed attachment, attraction, attachment. So, first of all, we are in this world because we are in Maya. If we can appreciate the value of devotional service, value of Vishnu, and our relationship with Vishnu, then we may begin devotional service. Then after beginning devotional service, long way to clear our anarthas, and then become fixed up, and then develop taste for Krishna and Krishna consciousness, taste for chanting, liking for chanting, liking for Bhagavatam, liking for prasadam, liking for devotees, liking for deities, liking for seva. Easily these things don't come. It takes a lot of time. After that comes, after the taste and liking comes attachment. Then strong attachment. Then ecstatic feelings. Then prema. It's a long way to go, right? So here Rupa Goswami is saying, Narada Muni is telling to Vyasadeva that I can observe that without even following regulative principles of devotional service, I can see the many advanced symptoms in this child, which is generally possible only after executing devotional service for many, many births. Acharya can grace. So this is very special. So therefore, that's why here if you see Gargamuni is saying, any person or group attached to Krishna is extremely fortunate. Such persons are not bothered about anything, about their personal body, personal maintenance, nothing. They have no such thoughts. All their minds are attached to Krishna, simply attached to Krishna. They have no material thoughts. Safety, protection, maintenance, what will happen to me in my old age, my health, or my future, my finance. Such things, there is no space, there is no mind space for such things. Because they are attached to Krishna. These things are not a discussion only for them. That is a stage of attachment to Krishna. Actually, even before attachment, they will advance to this stage. Even in stage of Ruchi itself. So anyway, that's why here Gargamuni is saying, because such persons are very much affectionate toward Krishna, they cannot be defeated by demons like associates of Kamsa or by the internal enemies, the senses. They have no problem with the senses. For a Kanishtadhikari or a Sadhaka, we are every day working towards safeguarding ourselves from the danger the senses pose to us internally, or from the external enemies who oppose our devotional practices. So, two kinds of threats for a devotee. One is the external threat, which is very gross, that people ridicule, people mock, people make fun, they disturb, they put a lot of impediments in your practice of bhakti, in your chanting, in your coming to temple, in your devotion to Krishna, put a lot of difficulties and in different forms. And if you overcome that, then there are internal enemies from the mind, from the senses, from this body and all these things. So, but those who have become attached to Krishna, they are in an excellent state of devotional service. These things does not matter only. These things don't disturb only. It's not a cause of disturbance. The discussion doesn't come only. So as one becomes expert in devotional service, what was difficult for you earlier, it's very easy. Just to give a common example, I'll close here. Just like for a student, a beginner, say mathematics, multiplication, division, subtraction, it's a very difficult thing. But when it comes to 10th standard, this is of no concern only. And somebody is doing PhD mathematics. What is multiplication, division? Why this child is scratching his head and getting heated up so much? Like I have to tell him, such a simple thing, isn't it? Because he's becoming expert. Similarly, as you become advanced in devotional service, practices of devotional service, as you advance and you become expert, then conquering senses, dealing with the senses is of no consequence. No difficulty at all. But if you don't advance in bhakti, you will continue to struggle with your senses. And enemy is either internally or externally. But if you advance in bhakti, then there is no enemy whatsoever, either externally or internally. So the secret therefore is we have to advance in bhakti and become expert. And that's what, that is why Rupa Goswami has made devotional service in two forms. One is sadhana bhakti, then there is raganuga bhakti. Of course, in sadhana bhakti again there are divisions. So we'll not go into the details now. So when we begin our bhakti through sadhana form, and slowly we'll come to the spontaneous form of devotional service, and then to devotional service in attachment, and then devotional service with feelings, and then finally devotional service in love of Godhead. So the 4 levels of devotional service. And that's what actually we are practicing in ISKCON. And this is what we are intended to achieve, that prema bhakti, from sadhana bhakti to prema bhakti. So we are all very fortunate. So we are attached to that. Prabhupada has given us the opportunity how to become affectionate to Krishna. Why are we doing the DT Seva? To learn to develop affection. That affection means attachment. Attachment means affection. So what standard of devotional service Prabhupada is giving us? We are so fortunate, which Bhagavatam is explaining. So which Nanda Maharaj actually is in these stages. Prabhupada is offering such levels of devotional service to us also. So we are actually so fortunate. Stop here. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Prabhupada ki jai.